Hey, welcome, all my right thinkers. Thanks for tuning in and check out your boy Ffunk. Thinking right out here in my lab, and I'm still in the book. Doing the Egyptian yoga, the philosophy of enlightenment, my man. Somebody asked me what book I was reading from. I was doing something at the time, so I just got to answer their questions back. Hope you tune in, but I will text it back to you. But let's go. Right, listen, today we're going to do the nervous system, aka the subtle body, or they call it astro body. That's the body that's inside the physical body, aka the nervous system. Let's talk about it. All right, radicalism, 25 rules to live by. Storytelling, story with a message. There's a message in my stories for life. I give you life lessons. You tune into receiving them. I appreciate you. We got a good thing going. Let's do what we do. Right thinking mission is to enlighten, inspire, educate, and motivate you, the individual, to a higher spiritual level of enlightenment. Right thinking way of life through mental and spiritual discipline. Practice daily will help and guide you to obtain your goal of reaching spiritual enlightenment, aka know thyself. My mission is that all right thinkers know thyself. If you're a right thinker, your goal is to know thyself. You see where we're going with this? Let's get there together. So I asked the question, do you know you? Oh, you will when I get through. Yeah, that's what I do. It's rhetorical. But if you don't have to answer for yourself, tune in. I got you. A person who knows not, and knows not that they know not, is foolish. Disregard them. A person who knows not, and knows that they know not, is simple. You can teach them. That's why I do what I do for you. I appreciate you too. Stay tuned. I got more for you. A person who knows not and believe and think that they know is dangerous, avoid them. I do. A person who knows and knows not that they know is spiritually asleep. I can awaken them. I'm your spiritual alarm clock here to wake you up with knowledge of self. That's what I do for you. A person who knows and knows that they know is wise. Follow them. All these persons reside in you. Right thinkers know thyself. And two, Mayat, be true. I just got to finish giving you the 7 balancing scales of Mayat, the 7 souls around. Oh, I enjoyed that. Long lesson. This won't be that long. We're going to talk about the nervous system, the body inside the body, aka the astral or the subtle body, where it's all nerves and mind. Let's go. Through the mind and the nervous system, your soul is now able to have an experience, interaction with the physical body. Ding, ding, ding. The mind formulates the thoughts, which are carried out by the direction of the nervous system to act in various ways. Follow me so far? Stay with me. This is going to be a good lesson. You pay attention, you can learn a lot about your inner workings of yourself. So therefore, maintaining a healthy mental nervous system is one of the most important tasks on your spiritual path. A big, fat, obese person, you have some issues you need to deal with personally. Why? Don't make a difference how smart, how wise, how knowledgeable you get. You need to take care of your body too. That's part of the course. If I just studied, prayed, and accumulated knowledge and didn't take care of my body, that wouldn't work for me. So mind, body, and spirit. That's what they're trying to get you the concept. That's always been that way, the Trinity. The spiritual body is composed of what they call a subtle, which cannot be seen, channels, which act as the transformers of your spiritual energy, which is your nervous system, which is connected to your brain. The spiritual body. Okay. This process will allow your body, which is the spirit or your soul, to what? To have a form, a physical body, which it can now use physically, what? To interact with the physical universe, here and now. There are many subtle channels. Again, your nervous system runs throughout the body, but it's all connected to this thing, still in the backbone. All that's connected. That's a whole other body that's inside, like lightning strikes and everything just scatters. But the body is built for that. Okay, pure energy contained in a physical container. Let's go. So there are many subtle channels in your subtle spiritual body. When we go to sleep, we take on our astral body, the subtle body. Why? It's all mind and interworkings of the physical body. You don't need to smell, taste, touch, or hear. You don't need the senses when you're in that subtle area. Okay? That's the spiritual body. The 3 main ones are symbolized by the stele of Shu. Remember this? When you got Geb representing the earth, Newt represents heaven. There's a love embrace. Ra said, I can't do what I need to do on earth with heaven and earth like that. Break it up. So now Shu gets between them. He pushes Newt up. She's the starry decked lady with the heavens all over the stars of her body. She represents heaven. He stands on Shu, stands on Geb, who represents earth. So now Shu pushes Newt up and stands on Geb. That's the three particular concept. What's this? Why? Ain't nothing between heaven and earth now, what? But air. But that's the sign, that's the concept. And there are many subtle bodies in the show. And the stela is celebrated, or the star is celebrated with Shu and the caduceus of Tahuti Hermes. These subtle channels are said to be located where? Along your physical spinal cord, and control the distribution of energy throughout the physical body. There is a primary channel in the center of the back. Learn the fire of the back. That's what they're trying to tell you. That's where the Kundalini rises. The other two channels represents as the serpents and the caduceus of Tahuti Hermes are coiled around the central channel, the central channel. This right here, that's Asar. These two right here are Set and Nefet, okay? Immortality, the twin sisters, they all together. In India, they call Ida and Pingala. But that's the same sign that you use for the medical sign to this day. With the wings, the caduceus, with the top, with the Ra, okay? All of that's Egyptian conceptualization, symbolism from thousands of years ago. Okay, so I'm over here. What's this? No. Now we got to deal with the other two channels representing the serpents of the caduceus. Okay, now Hermes is the name that the Greeks called Tahuti. It's the name that the Greeks gave to the Egyptian god Thoth or Tahuti. I do this. This symbol has many, again, esoteric meanings. I just gave the esoteric lesson before this. Meaning, the hidden meaning, the real meaning, the true meaning that when people see it, they just see, oh, that's the medical sign. A person who understands signs and symbols says, oh, that's the time of, that's a sign, I accept and that. Where you see that at? See, so different stroke for different folks. All right, but they called it that, what? The magic wand of Tahuti is one of the most sacred symbols. To this day, the medical still use it on their trucks. I laugh and I see it every time. Moses used it one serpent, one stick in the wilderness. But the caduceus, they talked about in page 22, it represents what they call the two opposite forces in nature, which when brought into balance, bring about physical and spiritual health. It is a variation of this same symbol, which is used by today medical professions. Okay, today. The center vertical, that's the penis, male penis, the pole. It represents the center of the ethical the spinal column. And what's this? Because the spinal column is like that, pole straight up and down. The spine is of the etheric body, meaning the nervous system in the body. And the other two represents snakes, represents what? Male and female. In India, it's Ida and Pingala, okay? They're showing you. And in the Egyptian, we use it as the twin serpents, Aset and Nefet. So it's all symbolical of life force in all things, including the human body. The wings, here you go, symbolize what? The power that can be achieved by raising one's sexual energy. I'm about to give you that lesson too about men. Raising your sexual energy, aka your life force. Fellas, women got a menstrual cycle. They period, you ovulate. Men, we have what we call a refreshment cycle, okay? If we don't waste our semen by having sex or masturbation, total abstinence, sexual semen retention, meaning you don't squander your semen, it will add years to your life. Now, for y'all who got girl problem back in the day, that was cool for them. The nerds, they wasn't getting none anyway, so it made them smarter. Why? Because they preserving their energy, the sexual stuff, without even knowing it. It's a natural phenomenon, okay? It's called purification. When you do it, purify, when it comes out, it's called the gift from Santa Claus. Moving on. It ain't nothing to do. that Christ, that physical guy, nothing to do with him. It's all symbology. And that's esoteric teaching. That's what I teach. All right. And at the top of the energy center, the mastering of it, one can unfurl one's spiritual wings with an unimaginable power. This system of subtle channels comprise what they call the back of a saw, in balancing the positive and the negative forces. Okay, that's my art. It is now possible for you to experience what they call the singularity of all things, becoming one with the universal God, including one with one's true own being. Coming one with God, becoming conscious of who you are, remembering who you are. Now, in the Indian yoga system, their subtle channels are known as nadis. Their main subtle channel is known as Sushumna, and the two smaller subtle channels corresponding to left and the right sympathetic system are what? Called Ida and Pingala. Love it. Respectively. That's male and female. Again. Now, when the dormant energy, which is the coiled up serpent, Kundalini, is awakened, how do you awaken your dormant serpent? Righteous living, virtuous living, okay, selfless service, doing the right thing. It flows now up through the spine, past through each center, which started from the sacrum up to the seventh level, top of the head, but the sixth is the sixth chakra that opens the third eye. And that's the serpents going like this, going up and lighting up every chakra. As you go, I just gave you the 7 chakras, so each one have to be mastered at every level. This is all symbolical stuff that you can practice by manifesting it through what? Daily practice. Simple. And after a year of practicing, you should have it mastered. Everything takes a little time. Okay. Where we at? Okay. Now, with the perspective. Now, as the serpents, they call the Kundalini serpent, the twin sisters, Nephthep and Aset. When the two serpents are controlled, so too your psychic force, we call Sekhem, serpent power, or Kundalini in India, will be now aroused. This is the association with what they call the back of a saw. Okay? The fire is ignited. The serpents is moving up. They're coming up. When the dormant energy is awakened, it flows through the spinal column, okay, through the energy centers from 1 to 6. Upon reaching the 7th, you hear me say 1 to 6. When you reach the 7th center, that's what they call the halo, the anointing, the crowning. And I can tell you for a fact, I didn't know nothing about this. When I had my lightning is like skyrockets, like just skyrockets just going up from my mouth. And every time I see fireworks, that's how I identify with my awakening. Everybody happens different. I just have my own experience. And now they explain it where I know just what they're talking about. Why? Because mine was just the 1,000 lotus flower petals just like explode. That's how it happened to me. And that's how they explained it. So I had my awakening a long time ago before I became awakened. Why? I was living right. I was practicing what I was learning. And it just happened. See? Difference. When you do it, it don't make a difference if you know or not. If you're doing it, it's going to happen. The serpent is going to work its way up and it's going to bing, ding, 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 ding. All of a sudden, what the hell? I was freaking out. So I started studying more to find out what the hell happened to me. You woke up. You crossed over. Okay, you broke through the barrier. All those antonyms you can use, analogies you can use, but the bottom line is you want to have that experience for yourself. So now if you had your experience, you can understand just what I'm saying. You can identify with it just by what? Your own experience. We can share that. It's going to be different, but we can share the experience. That makes sense? Okay? Now, collectively, that's what church and religion is supposed to get everybody to do the same thing. It don't work like that across the board. But if you give them the truth, it will work like that, like magic, across the board. They don't want that. Moving on, let's go. Now, when you reach the dormant, okay, when you reach the dormant energy wake of 7 cosmic, okay. Now, upon reaching the 7th center, that's called the anointing, or the contact with what they call the cosmic consciousness, your universal God. That's occurs when you do the things you're supposed to do. It's going to happen automatically. You just got to be prepared. I'm trying to prepare you for that while because I wasn't. And everybody handles it different. Shu, again, represent air. The god of air. The breath of Ra, Netter. He gives a clue as to a method of what they call controlling these vital forces. Shu is said to possess what? Power over the serpents. Serpents were a symbol of what? Your physical and your moral evil. I just gave the picture with Set and Haru in the same body. They occupy the same space. Set is the other appendage. Okay, I just did the sign and symbol I showed you where Eagle, Set, and Haru, the same body. Okay, that's the concept. From the waist down, from the neck down, y'all the same. Why they occupy the same body. Okay, so that's the old concept. But Shu tells us that God is what? Dwelling in the millions, now we into billions, of creatures. God is inside each of us. And through the control of breath, air, breathe the breath of life, and it's according to the Muslim, Christian, whatever y'all do, breathe the breath of air. And the link between the creator God and that which is created, which is us, must be established through what? Breathing. When I meditate, I go into a rhythmic breathing, okay, to set the tone, to get you prepared, to push the oxygenated blood to the brain quicker with what? Rhythmic breathing. Hold that steady flow, bring the pressure down, raise the consciousness up. That's all meditative concept I've been doing for a long time, so I understand it wholeheartedly, and yeah, it works. Now, Shu, the air, okay, we did that. Okay, then what happens? He's the physical, he makes the difference between the physical and the moral evil. And watch this. In the Egyptian coffin text, Shu tells us why God, the supreme being, is I am indwelling in the millions of creatures who have heard in a million words, I am. He who brings the word. In the beginning there was the word was God. Yeah, we know that. Okay. But the word of the who? Self-created one. Ta. Created himself into existence. Amun, hidden. Ra, visible. Ta, self-created. That's us. In the image of God, we can create from a thought. That's the whole idea. Symbolically, we can't think ourselves into existence. That's not how it's done. The mother and father take care of that. But once we get here, the mind takes over. But you all part of self-creator of his what? Multiplicity. He says, I am the strongest and the most vigorous of the divine band. I came into being in the limb of the self-creator. He used air, okay, as an extension from him to what? His creation. That's what she was telling you. I'm the connection between you and him. I love this. All right, that's an Egyptian proverb. That's going back, way back. I just remember that philosophy from way back too. And watch this. Shu tells us he was created in the limb of the self-creator, God. And that he, which is air, is the messenger of life to what? Of God, from God. And he is the strongest. Hold on a second. Sorry about that. What it says here. And he's created to extension. Without breath, man can't exist. Hello? That's Shu. He's air. He's the messenger of God. And he's the strongest of all creation. Furthermore, he tells that God dwells in these millions, now billions, and each through the control of the breath. The link between the creator and that which created may be established from knowing who? About Shu, air. In chapter 23 of the Egyptian book of Coming Forth by Day, the initiate is told to pray that who? Shu will open the mouth of the initiate as he had opened the mouth of the gods to breathe what? Life into them. Later, the initiate is now nourished with the food of Shu, who lives where? In the light, aka Ra. Light is spiritual energy, okay? Gained by the accumulation of the life force of Ra, sunlight, and by the sublimation of your sexual energy, which is the initiate uses to reach heaven. Sunlight, the rays of the sun, is described as being the ladder to heaven. So the backbone, the columns, ladder to heaven from the spinal column up the head. All selection, all symbolical. The same description of the importance of the sun rays is also indicated in the Madhuka Upanishad philosophy, which is the sacred Sanskrit Indian Vedanta philosophy text. It states, where it is stated that sun rays are a ladder to the divine. It is important to understand that the vital energy, which we call sekam, which runs through the subtle channels, the nervous system, is controlled by the mind. The universe is mental, says Tahuti Hermes, the god of wisdom. Okay? Controlling the mind is therefore the way to gain control over your vital forces. You, the force of the larger universal cosmos. And your inner universe, your human being, for when the individual, human mind, gives up its egoistic identification of individuality, now it becomes what? One with the mind of the cosmic God. It discovers that there is only one mind. Everything comes from the one. There's one mind that exists. It discovers that it is not limited to the state of attunement between the human mind and the cosmic mind. Yet it leads to health and peace, and to the extent that the human mind is now out of attunement with the cosmic mind, so there will be no varying levels of diseases and emotional, psychological, spiritual unrest. You're functioning on all cylinders, so to speak. No problems. Dis-ease comes when one of the chakras are out of line, one of the things ain't right, so you end up being dis-ease, imbalance they call it. When you develop, again, the life-giving force, the air, few know how to use it, and even fewer know how to master it. Master the fire of the bat. That's the serpent that's inside of you. You want to raise your kundalini. Speaking of kundalini, in kundalini and Tantra yoga is the sexual expressions, the sutra, Kama Sutra, different sexual positions, different ways to, twist your body around and enjoy at the same time. I ain't doing that. But it's a way of your sexual energy is seen as the force which transforms the energy centers and their corresponding nerves in your physical body. There's something to it. You can't see it, but it's there. In order that your entire nervous system now may be attuned to what? To all the pervasive cosmic consciousness. You start become conscious and start to know how to use it. Through this increasing wisdom from daily practice, the force of will, your self-discipline, I call it spiritual discipline, and your purification by performing selfless service, living, doing the right things of the mind and the body, you as the aspirant. Now your essence of you, which makes up the cells of your human body, is now changed, actually mutated for what? For the purpose of what? Becoming enlightened, becoming one enlightened being. This is what they call the caduceus. Still the medical sign today. Okay, down here you see a guy. This is Shu or Hugh. Hugh represents time. You see him holding two plum things. These represents time. He also got life. He also had the sun disc over his head. These are the dual serpents, and this is Tahuti with the staff with the dual serpents. Again, this is all the mind who control the serpents. The mind controls the body. The serpents are the body. You got to control them to rise and become connected with the third eye, the sixth chakra. Okay? I just showed you to the left. That's called the caduceus of Hermes. The Tahuti Hermes. Throughout the last, listen to this, 5,000 years of Egyptian history served a moral and social decay. It led to the end of the Egyptian civilization. Okay? Now this decay resulted in what they called a division of Egypt into two lands, Upper and Lower Egypt, philosophically, metaphorically, symbolically. Watch this. From the earliest time in the dynastic period, 5000 BCE, until 600 AD, when all the Arabs, Christians, kicked out all the Egyptian philosophical concepts, so it was no more around. Nobody teaching it. Nobody can practice it. Okay, that was happening in 600. The ancient Egyptian texts and speak of what they call rejoining the two lands. The double uraeus, the dual serpents, okay, also symbolizes this separation between what? Upper and lower Egypt. But in Egypt, upper is here, lower is up there, okay? There is also a deeper mystical implication to this symbol, which is what? The double uraeus is representing what? The serpents of the caduceus, the magic wand of Tahuti, is leading us to what? Understanding that we must reunite the two levels of our consciousness, lower Set, higher Haru. And the double uraeus, which to right I just showed you a minute ago, Tahuti, that's the god of wisdom and intellect. He holds what they call the double uraeus scepter. We know it as the caduceus. Other picture I showed you, that was God, the air, Shu, and Hu holding what? The serpents and controlling the sublimation. Air is what separates heaven and earth. We must control air in order to what? Reunite heaven and earth. Beautiful concept. And that means your breathing is important. Why? That's what God gave you. Breath, consciousness, all those things that God gave you to what? Recognize who you are, because you don't know yourself until you practice these things and learn these things about yourself. That's why you have teachers. That's why I do what I do for you. Hope you enjoyed the lesson. I'll be right back. I got more. In closing, right thinkers, may you all, let it be 100, maybe 100 miles a day. So I know that my right thinkers who understand the nervous system a little bit better and the mind and serpents have passed away.